Hi, I'm John Atack.
I'm Sam Atack.
And this is an Opening Minds presentation. We have something a little bit unusual for you today. We're going to talk about the Unification Church of Saminanity. This was an organisation founded by my son Sam when he was 14. He'd spent far too much time listening to me, and he decided, without asking me of course, that he would like to found his own cult group. And so how did you go about this?
The first thing I did was make a set of rules,
Mm-hmm.
and then went around getting people to sign a blank piece of paper to join up.
That's called a contract.
Yes.
So, what did you call your rules?
Your commandments, you mean?
The commandments. So,
Yeah.
And I happen to have in front of me the 71 commandments of the Unification Church of Saminanity. Now, 71 commandments actually add up to, or are numbered to, 118. But there are in fact 119 of the 71 commandments.
There are only 71.
Because number 113 of the only 71 rules is déjà vu is not real. And that's followed by rule number 113, which says déjà vu is not real. So how many members did you manage to recruit?
Recruit. Around 50 eventually.
Yeah.
Right.
And you got them to sign a blank piece of paper, which was their contract with you.
Yes.
And did they sell their souls to you at any point?
I haven't decided yet. I'll fill it in later.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, I was surprised to find out that so many people had been ready to just hand over complete control of their lives to you, especially as most of them probably had never met you before. Who's the oldest person or who were the oldest people? Because this wasn't just your fellow 14-year-olds, was it? You did actually go a little further.
I mean, if I'd managed to get you, it would have been you.
Oh, thank you so much.
But a teacher, probably. Yeah.
2 teachers.
I got 2 teachers. I don't know which one's older than the other. But.
Okay. So we have, the first commandment that we have here is, and we do get straight to the point, give me all your money. Other people, other groups start with a different set of rules, and they're not necessarily very honest. But Sam and his Church of Saminanity, you get the straight stuff.
Yeah.
Give me all your money. And the second one is, it's not your fault. It's like Maharaji, who's called Prem something or other these days, who says, your mind troubles you. Give it to me, it won't trouble me. It's not your fault. The third rule is contradict yourself as much as possible. Now, can you tell us something about the inspiration for this incredible philosophy of life that you've laid out in the 71 commandments? What were your sources? I mean, did you read Descartes and Voltaire and Immanuel Kant?
So we have Oscar Wilde in there. L. Hubbard.
L. Hubbard.
L. Hubbard.
L. Ron.
Or we could just call him Ron Hubbard.
Yeah. Ronaldo.
Douglas Adams.
Douglas Adams, one of the great philosophers of the 20th century.
The Pastafarians, the cult of the invisible unicorn. South Park.
South Park.
That's the main source of inspiration.
Yeah, I see it says stay HIV positive, which I recognise as one of the rules of South Park.
Yes. They had this DVD, The Cult of Eric Cartman, so I just lifted most of those because they're good rules.
Yeah, and let's face it, if you're going to be a cult leader, you've got to be willing to plagiarise other people's work, because otherwise you'll have to sit around thinking of things. You know?
Yeah.
It's a story I was told by a chap called Perry Chapdelaine, who was a mathematician who became involved with Ron Hubbard. And Hubbard, I think it was in 1951, sat down with him and said, look, we need something that looks scientific, so let's have some axioms. And Chapdelaine told me that they spent the evening drinking a bottle of whiskey and coming up with the axioms of Dianetics. But you didn't drink any whiskey to do this, did you?
No.
No.
I didn't need to.
Didn't need to, so this is all natural. And there are interesting things. Sam is an omniscient being with short-term memory loss, for example.
That one was quite popular, actually.
Yeah, you have to think about that a little bit.
Yeah,
and then you forget it.
There are a few. I like that one.
Yeah.
So
you have a particular favourite.
That's just so I can get away with anything I say. It's because, I don't even remember writing these, to be honest.
No.
No.
I mean, you were on another planet at the time, probably.
Respect my authority. South Park.
Cartman. Respect my authority!
Or if someone wrongs you, wrong them back 10,000-fold.
Yep, again.
Also Cartman.
Yep, Theodore Eric Cartman. I see that Rule 15, these commandments were promulgated in 2016, is that right?
Mm.
And I see that Rule 15 is the world will end in 2012.
And it has.
Yeah,
in fact, that's the main point of Saminanity. People's stupidity has kept the world going from 2012. So this is all a delusion of sorts. And the purpose of the unification is to get everybody in the same mind so the world can finally end.
But, you can't really be part of the new age anymore unless you mention quantum entanglement, which explains everything.
Yes, we're quantumly entangled to the year 2012.
All commandments may be broken as long as permission from the Royal Illiterate Orator is given. And the Royal Illiterate Orator spells a name, doesn't it? It's an acronym.
Yes.
R-I-O.
For my oldest friend, Rio.
Yes.
And by the way, he's given permission to everyone. So.
And an eye for a tooth, a nose for a spoof.
Yeah, there are a few of those.
How long were you running this group? Or is it still active to this day?
Well, people have encouraged me to keep doing it, but I got lazy after a certain while. I said, if you want to keep doing it yourselves, that's fine, but I'm now taking my period of rest.
So on the seventh day, which will
rise
last
again
for many years. No, you rest on the seventh.
Oh, right.
It's the third day you rise again. You've got your numbers all mixed up here.
What happens on the fifth day?
It's a Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is the fifth day a Wednesday? The point is that, we generally like to tell people that it's not because they're gullible that they get taken in. But I think in this case, we have to accept that they were.
Oh, yeah.
You had a practice that people were meant to submit a recording of themselves. What was that about?
Yeah, that was one of the ways you could level up, so you could eventually become a Sam in my group. Submit humiliating videos of yourself for further use in blackmail.
Could you give us an example of a humiliating video before we get into too much dark water here?
One of them consists of somebody dabbing along to music.
And what is dabbing?
You really want to... It's doing that.
Like
only
that.
In time with the music, back and forth. It was quite funky, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other ways you could level up consisted of giving me money, recruiting other members, or whatever else I decided on a whim. I individualized a few of them.
You see, I'm discerning psychically that what actually happened here is that people didn't give you enough money.
Yeah, you're right.
The fundamental spiritual energy of the confidence tricksters universe in which we live.
I think I got £5.
£5 is,
Yeah, it's not very good, really.
Not very impressive. I think Mahesh, the man who called himself great teacher, Maharishi, and people still call him Maharishi, he left something, I think it was about $8 billion that thankfully his disciples all these years later are still fighting over to try and get it. It's caught up in the Indian courts. Right. But I see that there is actually a reference here to Star Wars.
There is?
Yeah, it says, speak like Yoda sometimes you must, which is commandment number 35.
In fact, that was another way you could level up and just speak like Yoda enough times and, well, pump you up.
It will.
Yeah, it will. Nobody ever became a Sam. They weren't devoted enough. It's like they would just compete with themselves. So.
Yeah, but £5 you can't really expect very much, can you?
No.
And where other groups, I mean, the Christian Scientists, who were neither Christian nor scientists, but let's not argue about that, they introduced the idea of malicious animal magnetism, or MAM, as I like to think of it. And this was developed into the idea of the suppressive person, or SP, by Ron Hubbard. And I see that you've been inspired. And it says here, refer to those who are not part of the Unification Church of Saminanity as SEPs. Would you explain to us the technical definition of an SEP?
Someone else's problem.
And this comes from the works of
Douglas Adams.
Douglas Adams.
Yeah, great Douglas Adams.
The great Douglas Adams. It is not cheating if you do not get caught. I think that one comes from Cartman as well.
Yeah, it does. He's a great source of inspiration.
And 45 says, this is not a rule.
So how many rules does that make in total then?
I'm not sure.
I get confused.
Getting lost down here counting, as the lady in the novel said, but we won't explain what she was trying to count because that'd be a bit rude. And 46, evolution is a lie. Monkeys evolved from us. Would that be devolution?
Yes, it is devolution.
So that's when, like, Scotland got its own government, Wales got its own government.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're suggesting that they're monkeys.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you just put words into my mouth?
No, not quite into your mouth, but
around them.
Yeah, as if emanating from your mouth. It's more like kind of ventriloquism. Oh. Now who's the dummy? Unification must be achieved peacefully with guns. That's why we have here. Excommunication is wrong, but if anyone believes otherwise, don't talk to them.
Yes.
So 64. This is one probably only for UK viewers, I'm afraid. It says 64, 64, 64, 64 Zoo Lane, which is the name of a children's television show.
Yeah. And
you have here your response to mindfulness, and I think we are going to have to stop soon because I can't take very much more of this.
Me neither.
Tell us, what have you got? Instead of mindfulness, you advocate...
mindlessness.
Mindlessness is the path to enlightenment.
Yes.
Which is actually a lot more Zen, really, than all this mindfulness stuff. And 66, use words you don't understand to look smart. I think that's egregious, don't you?
Yes, I think that's... Can you just make the words up? I mean, I make the rules, so yes, I can. That's pontificus.
Pontificus. And 68, I think probably the most important rule for all cult leaders. Never admit you are wrong.
And I still haven't.
No. Never apologise. It's a sign of weakness, as John Wayne once put it. I don't think we're going to mention that one. We did in a previous video and I got into trouble. Do not eat the flesh of quilts. And blessed are the cheesemakers. So we've even got a little bit of the life of Brian thrown in here for good measure. So I hope this has been as edifying for you as it has been for us, which is not very, frankly, and that you should send in your money immediately, or don't wait or hesitate, and send your checks to the Unification Church of Saminanity. We have been John Atack
and Sammy
representing Opening Minds, and Spike tells me that when she edits this video that she will put some links in the description below to the Open Minds Foundation, to our Facebook page at Opening Minds. We would like you to actually like this and subscribe and do something about it, but if you're too lazy to do that, then you'll never achieve the state of Sam.